Today, we are diving into a really incredible story, one that goes back to the 8th century. It's about one of the most legendary masters in Tibetan Buddhism, Padmasambhava. And, it's not an encounter with a king or some famous scholar. It's with a regular, ordinary old woman. She felt like her time was running out, and because she asked for help, she received one of the most direct, most powerful teachings on the nature of the mind ever given. It's a teaching that just cuts through all the complexity and speaks right to the heart of things.
All right, so here's how we're going to unpack this beautiful teaching. We'll start with the old woman's worries, what was holding her back. Then we'll see how the master just flips the script on her. After that, we'll walk through his simple 3-step method to purify the mind, recognize who you really are, and finally, find that ultimate liberation.
So, the story kicks off with this devout woman. Her name is Lady Tsun, and you can just feel the weight she's carrying, the weight of her life, her age. She sees this great master as like her last hope to get a teaching that she can actually understand and use before her time is up.
So she goes up to Padmasambhava, and she's just feeling completely buried by all these things she thinks are her limitations. She thinks, I was born a lower woman. I'm too busy with chores in life to really practice. I'm not smart enough for all these deep books, and now I'm just too old. My mind isn't clear anymore. These are feelings that I think so many of us can relate to in one way or another.
And this is her plea. It is just so honest, so direct. She's not asking for some high-level philosophy or a practice that's going to take decades. She's asking for something that works for a real, messy, imperfect life. She wants a path that's convenient, requires little effort, and most importantly, actually works.
I mean, her question just echoes through time, doesn't it? It's that feeling of being totally overwhelmed, of thinking that, deep spiritual practice is for other people who have more time, more money, more brain power. She's basically asking for a way to cut through all that noise.
So how does the master respond to this? Well, what's so fascinating is he doesn't pat her on the head and give her some watered-down beginner's teaching. No, instead, he completely reframes her entire problem. He doesn't see limitations at all. He sees something way, way more important.
Get this. The very first thing he does is honor her. He tells her that her sincerity, her pure devotion, is even greater than the devotion of the king, who was his biggest supporter. So right from the get-go, he lifts her up. He tells her that the one thing that truly matters, sincere devotion, she already has and more than enough of it.
And then he just goes through her list, one by one, and completely dismantles every single worry. He tells her, being a woman, that's no barrier to enlightenment. Lacking book smarts, that's not a disadvantage here. And all those 84,000 different teachings she felt she could never possibly learn, he says, don't worry about it. The entire essence is in just 3 words.
So this is the crucial point. He boils everything, down to this one single thing. The only difference between a totally awakened Buddha and someone stuck suffering in the cycle of life and death, what's called samsara, is this: recognizing the true nature of your own mind. That's it. It's not about what you know, it's not about who you are, it's about recognizing what's already there. Okay, so this brings us right to the heart of it all. Now that he's cleared away all her fears, he gives her the simple, doable method he promised, the entire path, all wrapped up in those 3 essential words or steps.
And here it is. This is the whole practice. Super simple. Step 1, purify how you see the outside world. Step 2, purify what's going on inside your mind. And that leads to step 3, finally recognizing your true self. So let's break down those first 2, because they're the groundwork for everything else.
Okay, step 1 is all about how we experience the outside world. He uses this brilliant analogy of a mirror. He says, look at everything, your friends, your enemies, the mountains, your own house, as if they're just reflections in a mirror. The image is there, it's clear, but you can't grab it, right? It's not solid. So we see everything, but we stop trying to cling to it, to own it.
And that's the key right there. They appear, but they are empty. The practice isn't to become a hermit or stop experiencing life. Not at all. It's to see things as they really are. They show up, but there's nothing solid to hold on to. And when you let go of that grasping, that clinging, your perception is naturally free.
So that's the external. Now for step 2, we turn inward, to our own minds. And he gives another amazing analogy for this one. When thoughts, memories, strong emotions pop up, we just don't focus on them. We don't try to push them away, and we don't analyze them to death. We just let them be, and they dissolve all by themselves. He says it's like landing on an island made of pure gold. On a golden island, the very concept of an ordinary stone doesn't even exist. In the same way, in this state of mind, the whole idea of a problematic thought just vanishes.
So what happens then?
What happens when you stop grasping at the world outside you and you stop clinging to the chatter inside you? What's left? Well, this takes us to the third and really the most important step of all, recognition.
What you experience is your own awareness, directly. It's described as being clear, totally pure, and just awake. It's not some blissful state you have to struggle to maintain, and it's not a blank nothingness. It's the simple, natural knowing quality of your mind. And this, Padmasambhava says, this is the mind of a Buddha.
And to make sure this doesn't sound like some far-out mystical thing, he uses this beautiful, simple analogy. Recognizing your true nature isn't about creating something new or spiritual. He says it's as simple and immediate as recognizing your own mother. You don't have to think about it or analyze it, you just know. It's a recognition of what has been there all along.
And once you have that recognition, once you see that, all those limitations the old woman was so worried about, her age, her gender, her lack of education, they become totally and completely irrelevant. This core awareness is beyond all of those temporary labels and conditions.
So the teaching all leads to this ultimate takeaway, a path that, as she asked, requires very little effort, but gives you the biggest result possible. It gives you freedom from suffering, and very specifically, freedom from the fear of death.
And get this, the effect of this teaching wasn't something that took years to kick in. It was instantaneous. The story says that because the master gave this teaching with such compassion and directness right to her heart, both she and her maid became fully liberated right then and there. Total awakening, on the spot.
This is Padmasambhava's powerful final advice. It's this urgent call to action for her and for us. He's reminding her, look, you've worked your whole life for everyone else. Now you can't leave this life empty-handed. He tells her to carry the provisions of this practice for the journey that comes next.
And so, the master's words leave us with this really personal question. He calls his teaching a provision for the journey. So in the middle of all our own endless to-do lists and distractions in life, what essential wisdom are we choosing to carry with us? What's the one crucial provision we are packing for the road ahead?